Hi guys, so I showed you a picture of this chocolate box. So what I'm going to do is, let me see if I can get, whoops, let me hold it up here. It's a really cute chocolate box. And on this one I also did, whoops, let's move over. I even did the sides on this one. So I'm going to show you how I did this. And let me move this screen over. And maybe you can even see them better down here. So, and when you open it up, there you go. You could put your little muffin, your little baby muffin tins in there, put chocolates or nuts or whatever you would like. Hey, Jeannie, hi. And then here's another one. And this one, I just used colored paper for the sides. And I just left it white inside. But you're going to see when we do this, you can do it just about any way you want. And this is on Facebook and YouTube. So, and then I also already have the blog up. So the second I get done, the templates will be up. So this is what your template is. I'd like to come see. You know what? You should. You just have to get a hold of me. So this is one of the templates, and this is to actually make the bottom and the sides of the box. And then these are for the larger hearts that go on the outside. So you just print them off and use them as a template. Or like this one, you could just print it off onto heavy cardstock because this isn't going to be seen. So what I did instead of the first time when I was a dork and made you guys watch me cut everything out, I've already cut everything out. So I've got my pieces right here. So when you look at the template, you're going to see top front and bottom front. Now these two sides of the heart aren't completely symmetrical. That's what happens when I cut them out or draw them myself. But so one side is symmetrical to this side. So you really need to look to see which is the top and which is the bottom. So this is the bottom front. So it shows you what this is. This is the bottom front. So this is the bottom piece and it's on the front. Wow, 2 times. I'm going to try to start doing it more if I can get it all figured out. So we're doing the heart box. So I just told Jeannie that I have the templates, and the second I get off, I already have them ready so I can put them up so you guys can cut them out and do them. And you can either do them on just regular cardstock and use it just as a template and draw them, or you can print them onto cardstock. So, so the first 2 pieces were, I was back to this, the top front, which will be this piece right here. This is the top piece. And actually, this box, believe it or not, is just a little bit bigger than the bottom. And I will show you that. Because see how I lay these on top of each other? See how one is just a little, if I can pick it up, it's just a little bigger. Thank you. So, because you know when you put a box together, if you have them the same size, they don't really fit together very well. So I just kind of made it like 2% smaller. I just made it just a little bit smaller that when you put the top onto it, it works really well. So let's get back to this. Bottom front, top front. Now these are the pieces we're going to use to go around this box. And you can see how this has got the little squiggly things here. So it's just going to go around. But it's on a fold, so it's one, it'll end up being one piece. So you can take your template. This is for the top of the box because it's a tad bit bigger. And you can put it onto 8.5 by 11 paper. Hey, good morning, Melissa. Hey, let me know if you're hearing an echo. For some reason, I hear one. So you can either cut it out. If you're doing it on 8.5 by 11, you're going to have to cut two, add a little to attach them. I cut these out on, this template is actually about 1.5 by, what did I write? 1.5 by 17 inches. So on this one, I just used a piece of my Monahan paper. And so this is 1.5 inches. But I found something this morning that worked really good. You know my very favorite thing, drywall tape. Where did I hide it? Okay, so the lid will be like 1/8 of an inch, not quite as wide if you use this, but this is so, it's nice and sturdy. Good morning, good morning. Oh, good, thank you. So drywall tape is great because it's already got the crease, and it's just going to be like, this is just 1 inch instead of like, because even at the 1/2 inch, you're not going to need all that. It just gives you some space. So I decided to show you on drywall tape, but you can put this on any type of paper you want. So let's start with this. Since I've already cut my top and bottom out right here, I'm going to put them right there. And I even drew these on here. Let's make sure the top and the top. So this is my fold line. So what I did with my drywall tape, I cut it by 17. I probably cut it a lot bigger than that. I just cut it, and then you see where the score line is. I just folded it down. Because this line right here is going to be a mountain fold. And it's easier to do it before you cut it. Because if you cut it, do you get an echo? I've heard worse. Do you ever use? I don't know what an AirPod is. See, that's how much of a dork I am. I tried to get the sound from the computer instead of the phone, so I turned it off on my phone, but I'm hearing it come from my phone, so I don't get it. I'll have to look into that. So you want this as a mountain fold. So you can see this is going to be that center line. If you look right here, I don't know if you can move it up. It's just a tad bit shorter. So I decided to do this anyway. If I was really good, I'd cut the template that much shorter and it'd be easier for you. But if you're watching the video, you're going to know what I'm doing. So I'm going to fold this really, really tightly. Then I fold it in half. We're pretending this is 17 inches. And it's like this. So what I did is make sure it's lined up really well, and I stapled it there. So it holds it nice and tight when I cut it. And when I used my template, what I did was make sure this scored line was on this fold line. And so I said, you're getting just a tad bit smaller, but I didn't care. You know what? And I thought, this is going to be so much easier for you guys. So you lay it down where the score line is. And then I just drew all that out. So let's just cut it out real quick. And you want to make sure your little teeny points go just about to that score line. You really want them close. You just don't want them to go over the score line. So let's just cut this out real quick. And this should be kind of fast. I'm actually going to stop right there so it's still holding it together nicely. And now, this is just how I found it was easier, just to go do one side of these little clips, and then we're going to do the other side. And so it kind of went a little quicker, at least for me. And I'm going to leave that end until the end. Now I'm going to turn it this way. Let's make sure I'm lined up. And now I'm just going to do the other side clips. Hope you can see what I'm doing here. Would a decorative scissor work on the folded edge? It would, but when you see why it might, you should try that. You just need it cut close, like when you think of sewing and you're doing edges and curves, you want to just clip in. And you probably could even do that. I just found that it got a little bulky just doing clips. So I found this worked well. And this really, believe it or not, doesn't take that long, especially if it's folded in half. Let me see here. Good morning, Rosie and Miss Lisa. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you saw it on the first video when I started figuring out how to do this. I have a green screen. So it's like I took all the photos from the magazine that they used and I'm going to use different ones. Now see, I'm cutting the end now because I'm at the end and I don't care if the staples in. So that I could be in here and it's nice and warm and work. So I'm just going to refold this down again, but I had it folded already, and you can see why with all these little clips, it'd be really hard. Well, you can score it, but it just makes it a lot harder. Just fold that down, and I'm going to show you how we glue this puppy on. And this was the top part, which is just a little bigger, so you want to make sure, that's why when you look at the template, it says top front. So that is, actually it's this, because we have another heart on top, but if you had it on, it would be right here. This is where it's at. So what I'm going to do, let's see, let's do that. I'm going to do it so all these little pieces are on the outside. And I found that works really good. You could glue it this way, but it's a lot harder to maneuver if you do it underneath. And if you put it on the outside, it's going to be covered anyway, so it doesn't matter. So you can see where this little point is and the fold is, that's the bottom of the heart. So let's get our glue. Easing the seam, sewing term, that's what it's got. See, and I sew and I didn't even know. I am so untech savvy, I cannot even tell you. So you can do it either way. For me, this worked best. I started this little tiny corner that is going to be this point down here. And then I start, put a little bit of glue just on this big straight piece. Whoops, how to do that? That's the top. Got to make sure I'm doing it right. Okay, so I'm putting this on to the top and I'm pressing this in. Said using this drywall tape, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. And then what I found is I just kind of ran my finger on the edge. So you're getting a little bit of a curve there. And you want to do that to this side too. Okay, so let's keep going. At this point, you really could just go like this, do a little bead of glue. You can go under each one if you want. And it's not going to matter because something is going to be on top of this anyway, so you're not going to see any of this. That's why I said they're not, the two sides aren't completely symmetrical. So you really need to know which is the top and which is the bottom, which is the front and which is the back. So I tried to write that on these. So if you just use this as a template, you might, where I wrote, you can write because you're not going to see. This is the big heart, and I wrote this in decoupage other side, glue this side to top of box. So you know what piece you've got. Because they are a little bit different. Okay, so I'm going to go there and there. And this, did I put enough glue there? I don't know where I went to. Let me grab a little more. Now you can see this is going to fit and it's going to go just over that heart edge, but that's just what I wanted. So if you use this on the other heart, it's going to be too big. I said the other one's just a teeny bit smaller. But see, look, now didn't that seem pretty easy for that little fussy stuff? And you could take the same idea and make any shape you want. On curves, all I do is I know it can be straight if it's on a straight edge. Anywhere you get to a curve, start doing this. Then if it's straight again, you can do a longer strip. But that's how you come up with it. You kind of have to play and play and play to get it. And I finally did. So I'm going to do this side now. Hopefully this makes sense. And I said for me, it was easier to do it on the outside edge instead of on the inside, because then you have a nice clean inside piece. You bought some drywall tape to make, oh, you know what? I use drywall tape for everything. My 12 pointed stars, for any of my buntings or banners. And I love drywall tape. It's such a nice heavy piece. Like for buntings, it's great because it's already got the score in it and everything. Sorry, I have 2 dogs, and I can't seem to get rid of the puppy fur, and they don't even get to come this far over the house. Well, they kind of do. Maybe it's the heater. So you can see I just did that there. Do you love this? But look how simple it really is, because when I curved that paper with my finger and you have those little slits, look how easy it is. Just push those down for a sec. Down for a sec. And same thing with this other bottom piece. It's going to be just a little longer on the inside. Let's see if I can get, let's get these pieces stuck down first. Maybe. That also helps if you curve it, because then it kind of lays a little better. Sure, stay in the shot. Yesterday, for some odd reason, the screen moved to me as the main screen, and it's like I didn't even touch it. So I'm not sure if I just moved too quick or too fast. But look at that. You're done. You can make this into a cute frame. You can make it into anything. Now you're going to see you have a little extra edge right here. So what I did is just a tiny, just along the edge, I am just going to put a tiny bit of glue. And if you eventually have to trim a little, that's okay too. But I'm just going to hold this and it closes. I know on the template I had a score line, but that's really more of, that's the side that you're going to be putting together. And it's not really a score line. I mean, if you absolutely have to, because this is sticking out too far when you get the small box on top, it might get stuck. Then you may have to trim a little bit of this off. So that part's done. Let's get to the other part and do it again. So once again, I took my drywall tape. Hi, Miss Dina. Hope you are doing well and you're not snowed out. I trust you completely in all things. Oh, you're funny. So I said I used drywall tape because it seemed easier, but you can use any paper you want. If you're going to use other paper, you want like 1.5 inch by 17 inch. You're not going to use all of it, but it's going to be enough that you can really work on cutting it, not skimping. The drywall tape right here, I think I was saying earlier, if you didn't see that, it's going to be, because here's my score line, and I lined this scored line up to this score line. So it's like you're going to have like just a teeny bit, like maybe 1/8 of an inch shorter. But you know what? I would just use this. I would cut this template down a little more. Just cut the edge so it fits on drywall tape and it's right on the edge. And then you don't have to worry about lining up this score and this score on the score line, even if it's, and then you can draw it. You can see there's an excess. But this worked so well and it was fast and easy. Stapled the end just to keep it in place. Once again, let's just cut this puppy out. And if your line doesn't quite go to the score line, just make sure you get real close, your little cutouts. I said, let's do this again real quick. And let's stop here so my staple stays there. Once again, we're going to go, let me just go all the way, clip, clip. Then I'm going to turn it this way, clip. Okay, now I'm just going to cut the end. Since I'm already almost done, I don't need that staple. And there we go. And like I said, the two hearts are not symmetrical, so you got to make sure you use the right side where it shows you to use the right side. You think I could have made them that way, and no, can't draw symmetrical. Sure, just traced it. It would have been a whole lot easier. Yes. And actually, Sheila, I did it, I thought it was easier. I did it on drywall tape. So if you go back a little bit, you'll see how I had to make this just like 1/8, 1/16 of an inch shorter on this template. Because the drywall tape, I grabbed mine this morning and said, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. So it already has a score line, and this is the mountain fold. So let's glue this on to the other side, the small heart. Okay, so this says bottom back. So what bottom back means is let's see which one's the big. Okay, that's the small one. It's back here. And what I want is, I'm going to put it so it shows on the back because I'm putting two hearts over it. And I said they're both a little different size. The bottom one's a little smaller, so you need to make it just so it can close. So I'm going to start again and just put a little bit of glue. I would love to see what you guys come up with. Make your own templates. So all you need to do is the little clips where you have curves or little notches. Am I doing that the same way? Let's make sure. Yep. Sometimes I get going and I forget what I'm doing. I spent 4 days with you in October and I can remember what it was like yesterday. Actually, you ended up being with so many other super cool people that knew so much too. And what I said is I just kind of use, not like I really have nails, but use that to help curve it, and it makes it a little easier. And all I'm going to do is put a little glue here, and like earlier, I said, you're not going to see this back, so it won't matter. And let's bring it down, hold it for a sec. Maybe. Kind of impatient. That's why the drywall tape was so great. It was so much faster. And then this little excess piece goes on the inside. It would have been nice if I made them symmetrical, then you didn't have to look at front and back, and if the sizes were the same, you didn't have to worry about top and bottom. 4 days. I don't see how anybody could stand that. That's why I hide. Okay, let's do the other side. Hopefully that didn't seem too bad. Okay, so we're gonna, and I could have just put it under glue underneath there. I'm so glad you came. And it looks like you had such a fun trip all the way around, all the places you went and what you did. And so I'm still debating on May. So the first year we did May and October. Then I just did either May or October. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do this year. I guess it just kind of depends on the pennies I got. And if I come up with something wonderful that's different. Hold it there. Hand in there. You know, and if you knew you had it all down, you could just put it down like that and just squish down, but I'm always afraid Actually, I did pretty good. But sometimes they want to move. Okay, let's see. So this is the front and this is the back. Whoops. Let's glue this the little extra edge again down here. And glue these two little pieces just at the ends together. Hold that for a second and see if I need to clip that a little bit. Oh, Sheila, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, anyone that did meet me knows I'm very, very nervous. I start rambling even more the more nervous I get. I have gone a few places. I'm trimming that just a little. Just want to make sure I don't trim it so it comes unglued. I do go a few places, but it's really, really hard. It's I don't even know if it's going, even though I don't like leaving the house. But being around other people is really, really scary for me. And that sounds so dumb. Okay, let's see. We're going to find out which is, okay, so this is the bottom. So what I found, if I cut it enough, is I take this bottom piece and put it into the heart and then bring it in. So it's a little, you could probably even shrink it a little more. But see, I wanted it to have enough room. Don't you hate it when you have those boxes and you rip them apart trying to get them open? So that was really the basics, and that really wasn't bad. You do you, and that's it's something. Yeah, my husband, and I'm usually alone, but when we are together, he goes, "You can be intense," and the problem is I don't stop. It's either on or off. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is said that was the first sheet of the template, and this is the second sheet. Now these two are the same size, but they're, how did I do this? I have it set up so this is the top, this is the bottom, and so they line up. So you just really need, so I kind of drew them that way so they're going to line up and be symmetrical. Because you can see if I do it this way, they're not symmetrical. So that's why I wrote on them. And you're not going to see any of this. So if you just print this out on something, it's not going to hurt anything, and you're going to remember, and it tells you decoupage, other side, and other side. So we have the top and the bottom. So what I used on these boxes, I just got some in. I'm only down to 4 sheets. This is called wallpaper decoupage. This is so beautiful. It's one of my Roycycle papers, and I may have to get more. I love this because it just fits so perfect. So I have a few sheets on my website, but I thought about even using the red ticking, but no, this is what I'm doing. So anyway, I think, so for the top piece, let me find this. Yeah. Where's the other side? So I'm not even sure what I did with the other side. Oh, I threw it on the ground. Okay, so I'm just going to put this on here. It says top, decoupage, other side, and then this is the side you're going to glue onto the top of the box. So you can kind of eyeball it, kind of look, and if you know where you kind of want it, just kind of make a little line there so you can kind of see, but I'm not too worried. So I'm going to put it over here. And I am just, you want a bigger area because you're going to need some space, because on the back side of this, you want to cover that on the back side where that is, if that makes sense. Don't you love that paper? I mean, it's so pretty. I loved it when she had it bigger, and when she made it smaller, this is adorable. And then for Valentine's, and just imagine what you could add to it. A 3D heart to the top. So a real heart, you could add a chocolate bar and tie it to the top. I mean, you could do just anything. Okay, so I am just going to put, and I'm not going to worry about this too much. About wrinkles, I'm not going to worry about any of that. And I'm just going to lay it down. And I'm going to let this kind of set for a minute before I trim it. Let's do the other one. So it's, okay, decoupage on. So you're going to see this, and then you know the back side is on here. Let's see. You know what? It's going to be beautiful wherever it ends up on here. I know it is. It's so pretty on Mother's Day, or you know what? Even if you just love florals and things in your home. And I just thought, you know, I was thinking, why don't we do the same thing and do round boxes, but make like they do with the stacking ones, and you could do it out of this paper. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Full of things, like in the corner next to a ladder. Lisa, you like it too. Isn't it pretty? Okay, so let's let that one dry. We'll start on the top one. So I am just going to start cutting, and I'm going to cut it bigger. About how big is that? Maybe it's not quite an inch. It's maybe some areas will be bigger and some will be smaller, but that's fine. Because if you really do miss something on the back, you can lay another piece on there to cover it. No one's going to see it. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to do a little clip and a clip. And on this, all I'm going to do is just, because I don't really need to do it on straight, but you don't want to cut through your cardstock. But this paper is so nice and thin that it just goes right to where it needs to go to. Okay, what did I learn with this when I did it last time? Okay, I want to go straight down the center there. And then you may have to add a little piece right here. Okay, let's do it again. Let's just decoupage this little puppy on here. In whatever way works better for you, whether you want to do it on the paper or you want to do it on the cardstock heart. And really for the actual box, I would say use something a little heavier. Whoops. Let's start. And I may have to add some more glue and trim a little there. So I'll just start going this way. So when I decoupage this, I may need more decoupage because when that goes down, it covers some of the other areas. Yes, making a flat seam. I love sewing. I love sewing. Whoops. I ripped that little piece, but it won't matter. We'll get it worked. So anywhere that's not completely covered, we can fix that lickety-split. And I kind of just go around the edges to smooth it. And when my fingers are all sticky and it touches this paper, you know what it wants to do, rip, huh? So this is the good reason to do it on. Yay! You know what, Lisa? Hope you have fun with this. I said, second I get off, I've got the blog going, so I'll have the templates up. Whoops. And all I'm going to end up doing then is just gluing these to the front of the box, and then the very, very back of the box. And let's see if you can see where nope, I think that's fine. I'm going to clip this a little bit. Let's make sure I got the right. Okay, this is the top. So what I'm going to do is just lay this in the center. This is the top box, and you can see, like right here, I ripped a little piece, and I need to put a piece there. So I will just do that really quick. Just good morning, Miss Susie. Have a wonderful day, Miss Lisa. Okay, let me just, and I may just have to, that little spot here. Yeah, Susie, you're gonna just have to go back and look. This one isn't super long, I don't think. Like yesterday, I thought, oh, it'll be 15 minutes, and it was still 45. Okay. There you go. And now you can't see anything. And so you can either use a heavy duty tape or you can just decoupage it. You know, for right now, since my decoupage medium is out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on the box. Otherwise, I'll have a lot extra because the heart is actually bigger than the box. Once again, line it up so you can just kind of look to see you have a little edges, a little bit of edges on all the sides and at the top. And then when you set this down, just press on it really well on the inside. We're almost done with this, guys. Okay, let's put this aside and let's do the bottom. Right here. Making my little clips around the rounded edges. work on something. That might be a good idea. So this time I'm going to put it on the decoupage paper. And of course, since it's really gooey, you don't want to just pull it too hard, like I did on a couple of the other ones, because it'll rip them. I would use a definitely thicker cardstock to make the box, but you could actually even use just a really beautiful heavy cardstock, and then you don't even have to cover it. Just use whatever is on it. So a lot of this, when you're playing, you can you don't have to put a bigger one on top, even if you don't want to. And on the first ones I did, I even covered the inside. So I just took the original template, and you may have to trim it just a little, but then I glued it on the inside of the box. And then on the other one, I also just cut a little strip and went around and decoupaged that, let's see, onto the sides. So it really just depends on what you want it to look like. You can add as much or as little, or just find really beautiful cardstock that you don't have to mess with doing any of this part. But I love this paper, so I just thought, ooh, this is so pretty. But the actual hearts are on cardstock. Okay, the bottom once again, I am going to trim. This guy looks a little crookedy. I'm just going to trim it. It'll be fine. Okay, and then we're just going to glue this onto the other side of the box. That's it. Whoop. It says box bottom. Whoops, I probably should have made sure I don't need to put anything on here. Yep, I do need to add a little piece, and I think you may have to just do that at the top clip of the heart. So let's just... And I'm not overly worried about this section. And it looks like there's a little opening there. By the time you're done, no one is even going to see it. But I do see this piece of hair. Oh, see, cereal boxes sound like a great idea. Both of you guys using cereal boxes. Hey, Miss Mary, I didn't see that. You know, and can you believe I'm almost done? I'm almost done. So I'm going to try to line it up in the center. Look at the two sides. You're not going to see as much of this one, even though this box is smaller and these top and bottom are the same. You're going to see a lot less of this one. You would think you'd see more of it by the time you get the lid on. So you just want it centered. And my fingers, and make sure your fingers aren't full of glue when you're doing this. Or once again, just cut something cute out and put it in the center. Actually, if you used a really heavy red cardstock, you wouldn't even have to worry about any of that. The inside and the outside, and it would all be really, really pretty. So let's take our lid. There we go. And like I said, what you're going to do is, I just take this point first and go over it, and then bring it down and in. And then you can, if you see, and I might have gone off a little, see, this box is bigger. There you go. And if you don't like drywall tape, so just take a strip of, just measure this, it should be about an inch, and take an inch and just decoupage just the top one. You don't even have to do the bottom one because you're not going to see that. And that was it. Was that easy? No, cereal boxes, great idea. So that the templates you can take and just cut them out and mark them so you know if they're front, back, right, left, top, bottom. But I thought that was easy. And after I played with it enough, it's like, yeah, I want to do round ones and octagon ones and all different ones because, oh, now I know. It just takes a bit when you take your strip and try to play with it to get your clips and your marks right where they need to be because they'll stretch or move. So, but that was easy. That was easier than the other projects I did. Well, I hope you guys try this. Thank you. I put the video up and it's all done. The second I get off, I'm going to go over and hit click, and then I'll have the link to the template on Facebook and YouTube. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and you guys on the East Coast or in Chicago, or I hope you're not getting snowed out. I mean, or stay in and be safe. You know, it's crazy. I think one year here it was like during St. Patrick's Day. Oh, it's 2 or 3 feet. They said actually fell, but the snow actually went to the top of what size is our fence? 6-foot fence. It went all the way to the top. And our dog door was, you couldn't get to it. I mean, you couldn't even get it. You couldn't get into the yard. It literally was like 7-8 feet tall. So everybody cut a hole out in their driveway and just visited with each other, you know, from their driveways because you couldn't get anywhere. So you hope you just have everything. You guys have a wonderful weekend. And I'm going to talk to you soon because if I can get this figured out and I'm not a complete dork, I'm going to do this more often, just whenever I do it. So I'll talk to you guys later. Stay safe, stay warm, and thank you so much. Bye, guys.